I think what we're going to do is do a little bit of a slow start as we see people constantly joining in. But I am Jenny, and this is not Yusuf, if you noticed. This is Robin.
Thank you.
And we are Bunyaad. We are a fair trade rug company that works with over 850 families throughout 100 villages in Pakistan. Now, after spending over 38 years with 10,000 villages in the Ephrata, Pennsylvania store, almost 3 years ago, we opened our own brick and mortar location called Bunyaad Marketplace in the cute little downtown of Lititz, Pennsylvania. Raise your hand if you've been to Lititz, Pennsylvania. Yeah, it is absolutely adorable. And it's just a fun, like Americana downtown where you can shop and you can eat and you can shop some more and you can eat some more. Just a wonderful downtown to be in. So we're so tickled to be able to have our own brick and mortar, which is combines with our rugs as well as fair trade items from around the world. Now, as many of you know, people like Leonore have been cooking with us since 2020. When we started this venture, as a way, we cooked once a month, usually on a Sunday, as a way to sort of create the community that we couldn't continue to do because of COVID shutdowns. But we found that this was way too much fun to continue to have our kitchen join your kitchen and all be together talking fair trade, talking rugs, and talking cooking. So we're tickled to still be doing it in November of 2023. We would like to offer our sincere apologies for basically going offline since February. It's been a year, a busy year. Yusuf and I have been on the road an awful lot, as well as all of our group. Actually, Yusuf is in Hyattsville, Maryland right now. He may or may not be joining us. He's currently loading 350 rugs into a van and trailer coming back from the Hyattsville Mennonite Rug Festival. So he may be joining us. If not, don't worry. Have we got things in store for you today? So we are also really tickled. This is our first. We actually have a live studio audience that we're staring at. Can we hear it for the live studio audience? This is the first time we've ever had the peanut gallery, and everybody in the peanut gallery, raise your right hand, and you promise there will be no heckling, no making fun of, or we will throw pot holders at you. All right, they have all agreed. All right, so there will be no heckling. So I also am thrilled to see so many kitchens from all over joining us. I don't know if you have a group in your kitchen or if you have a peanut gallery as well, but if you want to put in the chat where your kitchen is joining us, we're here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I do know for a fact that I was going to say that Leonore is joining us from Louisville, Kentucky. Can you say that?
No.
Come on, try it.
Louisville.
What do you think, Leonore? Yeah, she gives you 2 thumbs up. I know. Where else are we joining you from? Vahishta, Lois, Judy, Elizabeth, Alice, where are your kitchens today? We just love to sort of see where you all are joining from and sort of how many kitchens across North America we can join. New York City, wonderful. I believe there's a Parksburg. I think Judy, if I remember, is from Parksburg, Pennsylvania. And Sandra, you are here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania as well. Yes, Home Kitchen, Ontario, Canada. Well, folks, it is great to have you here. Now, here's my disclaimer. If you're new to us, why in the world are we doing this? Well, we do this because we love to cook and we love to share our world culture and traditions, especially those from Pakistan. We love fair trade rugs, and we thought, why not combine the two? So back in June of 2020, we did. Now, to be clear, we are fair trade rug folks. We are not trained chefs, and you will probably see that from my technique really, really fast. But our love for cooking always makes a delicious table, and to us, it's always best shared with community. Now, before we begin, we do want to thank all those that have helped to promote this month's Cooking with Bunyaad. For us, these are not just stores that we work with, they are our fair trade family. And without them, we could not provide income for over 850 families. So I want to thank the following stores that helped to promote this through their emails or their social media or telling their friends and family. 10,000 Villages in Redondo Beach, San Pedro, and Pasadena, California. 10,000 Villages in Cincinnati, Ohio. One World Goods in Rochester, New York. 10,000 Villages in Old Town Alexandria, in Baltimore, Maryland. Just Creations in Louisville, Kentucky. 10,000 Villages in Austin, Texas, and in San Antonio, Texas. 10,000 Villages in Evanston, Illinois, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and in Harrisonburg, Virginia. 10,000 Villages in Iowa City, Iowa, Lincoln, Nebraska, and State College, Pennsylvania. Mariluna in Oakwood, Ohio. 10,000 Villages in Souderton, Pennsylvania, in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, in Overland Park, Kansas, and Weston, Missouri. 10,000 Villages in Glen Ellen, Illinois, and Oak Park, Illinois, and 10,000 Villages in Goshen, Indiana. Also, our Canadian fair trade friends at Village Goods in Edmonton, Alberta, which is our year-round location for Bunyaad rugs in Canada. 10,000 Villages in Cobourg, Ontario, and Abbotsford, British Columbia, as well as Brandon, Manitoba. Villages Calgary in Calgary, Alberta. Hansel and Halkett in Sydney, British Columbia, and the society behind the long-standing Des Mille Village in Pointe Claire, Quebec. So all these stores either host a fair trade rug event and or hold Bunyaad inventory year-round. And like I said, Yusuf, is Yusuf with us yet? No, not yet. Yusuf will hopefully be joining us as he is finishing loading up a rug event in Hyattsville, Maryland. So pretty soon you will find on our website our 2024 rug event schedule. So please, if you check out that schedule and see that we're coming to a place near you, please come in and say hello. And my gosh, if you're coming near Lititz, Pennsylvania, please stop in. We have been thrilled to meet many of you over these past couple of years as you sort of trek through our town. Actually, this past year, I had one of the most surreal experiences of my life. One of our most faithful rug Cooking with Bunyaad folks, Leonore from Louisville, stopped in while traveling through Lititz, Pennsylvania. And I have to say, it was just amazing because it was something straight out of a movie. Here we went from someone who I now am seeing on a tiny little screen in my kitchen to her being a physical person that I could hug and we could talk and swap stories. So Leonore, I hope you know how much it meant to us. We are most tickled, and I hope that more of you take the chance to stop in and say hello with us in Lititz, Pennsylvania. So thank you. And Leonore said, Rebecca, her daughter, who also has been one of our most faithful, can't join us today. She and Neil got married, sold the house in Colorado, moved back to New Jersey, and are staying with his parents as they look for a house. And indeed, it is Diwali celebrations. Oh my goodness. Please tell Rebecca we said congratulations and also, my goodness, happy Diwali. So this month, we want to focus on the concept of variations on a theme. Now, think about the variety of things that sort of get altered from a central concept, be it a recipe, be it a tradition, or even a rug. And all these variations sort of come about as we as humans interact with this concept and then sort of put our own spin on things, be it a spin that's because of our cultural heritage or our life experiences, the people that we run into, our friendships, or our personal likes and dislikes. For example, how many of you have seen our rugs? Raise your hand. Seen our rugs. Studio audience here is raising their hands left and right. I like it. Many of our Pakistani rug artisans choose to make a type of rug called a Kashan. Okay. Now these rugs that are over 500 knots per square inch are always these amazing intricate pieces, usually like scrolling floral designs, about 15 to 25 different colors. And yet many times the Kashans, they might have one name, but if you put them side by side, they look so very different. And yet it's a variation on a theme. Let me show you. So let me just show you a couple Kashan rugs. Every Kashan has a rounded medallion with a teardrop floral extension, as well as lotus flowers throughout the rug, worked someplace into the design. That's what makes it a Kashan rug. But do you see these variations as you see on your screen? all of these are Kashan carpets. And every artisan has brought in their own ethnic tradition, their family style, and their individual style to create these different Kashans. All right, now believe me, this does link back to cake. Sometimes my son doesn't know where all my connections go, but this connects. So now today's recipe is exactly that, a variation on the theme. So this recipe is an adaptation between my dear friend Robin, a good Italian girl from South Philly, who brought this recipe and now lives in Lititz, Pennsylvania. And wait till you hear how many, actually, we just got to tell him now, how many of these cakes, your variation on the theme, how many of them will you make between now and December 15th?
Between 40 and 50.
Between 40 and 50. And exactly why?
I'm crazy.
Well, we know that. Okay, that's a given.
So when Matt was young and we first moved into our neighborhood, he played with 3 or 4 kids, good friends, and we're gift givers at Christmas time. So I thought, oh, we've got to figure out a gift for these friends. Well, they all had siblings. A lot of them. So you have to buy gifts for siblings too. And okay, that wasn't too bad. They were 6 and 5 and little. But they're going to grow up and be older, and then the gifts get more expensive, and you can't stop giving gifts once you start. So the answer was, you make coffee cakes. And then every Christmas Eve, Matt would walk around the neighborhood and to all the other places, wearing a Santa hat with a jingle bell around his neck, and the cakes were in his wagon, and he delivered them.
And so yours was the variation of the cinnamon and sugar.
Yes.
All right. So
yes,
you have to understand, when I first met Robin and she brings in this coffee cake and I'm tasting it and I'm like, and she's telling me the story, I said, oh my gosh, this is wild. This is exactly the cake that my dear friend from Montreal has sort of made as well. She always says she makes it ahead of time, freezes it, and then thaws it for like Christmas morning or Thanksgiving morning. Like, this is really, she's the one that taught me not to be scared of the Bundt pan. It's an important thing. Like, did you always start with 50? Or it grew?
No, that has just grown.
It grew.
That has just grown because
it's a good cake.
I like people.
Okay.
Then they get on the list and you don't get taken off the list unless you do something really egregious, illegal.
Right, more than that.
Or you die.
Okay.
And my friends are healthy, so the list just keeps getting longer.
I like it. I like it. All right. So if you want to try to get on Robin's list, you put your, oh no, that's not what you meant. Oh, okay. I thought so. So what we thought was awesome is, here's a recipe that came to me from Montreal, from Lititz, by way of South Philly. And then we thought about putting our own family spin on it. As you know, I am married to a Pakistani. I do Pakistani things day in and day out, as our life is heavily in Pakistan with the carpets that we represent. And so we decided to create a marble cake that tastes like the quintessential Pakistani sweet Gulab Jamun. Raise your hand if you have had a Gulab Jamun. Yes, delectable when they're really fresh and warm and they've just been soaked in that syrupy goodness. Like, so if you haven't had one, it's this deep fried cheese ball that gets soaked into this like sugary cardamom rose petal saffron goodness. And then, oh, when it's warm, it's the best. Not exactly something that you can, well, my 13-year-old has tried to convince me ever since he was little that it's a perfect breakfast food. It really is not a perfect breakfast food, although not that he hasn't had it for breakfast. So we thought, okay, what if we take this coffee cake and do a variation on the theme? Let's make a Gulab Jamun Bundt Cake. And it is one that only gets better in time if it lasts that long. And as you saw from the recipe sheet, we also have variations. So we have the cinnamon sugar variety that Robin makes. And then we also have the chocolate marble cake, which is the one that makes my parents sing. So what can we say? Variations on the theme. Now, who's cooking with me today? Raise your hand if you're cooking. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you want us to be cooking for you and deliver a cake to you. Yeah, I see. Wow. Okay. All right. I see. Oh, I see some some hands back here in the studio audience. All right. Oh, there are 2 coffee cakes going to Santa Fe, which is where you will soon meet our 2 helpers that will be joining us a little later from Santa Fe, New Mexico, and 2 coffee cakes are going to return home with them. That's impressive. All right, so if you are cooking with us, step number 1, did you preheat your oven to 350? If so, turn on your oven now to 350. Number 2, did you soften your butter? My dear husband has been very patient lately as I've been timing out. For me, it's all about timing everything out, making certain that, you get a cake in about 30 minutes, it's in the oven. So I've had so much butter softening on our countertops for the last 2 weeks that he just keeps like texting me at work going, hey, honey, is that just supposed to continue to sit out or not? If you didn't soften your butter, no big deal. Just take your butter and cut it up into little bits. It will cream nicer that way, but do not microwave your butter. If you need to microwave it at a very, very low power, that's fine, but you don't want to microwave it where it turns into something liquid, okay? You want that nice, solid butter, okay? Also, did you bloom your saffron? Blooming saffron is quite simple. Take either 2 tablespoons of boiling water, or nuke 2 tablespoons of boiling water in a microwave-proof bowl. Heat it up, and then add a generous pinch of saffron, and then let it sit. Okay, you want that goodness of saffron to bloom through those 2 tablespoons of water, and you also want to not be really, really hot. All right. So how are we doing with those 3 things? We're preheating, blooming. See, now I already forgot the 3rd one. Preheating, blooming, and
Softening.
Thank you. And softening. All right. So we're going to grab our mixer bowl. I have 1 3/4 cup butter in the mixer bowl, which better said, it's a half stick shy of an entire pound of butter. There is a reason this cake is so good. All right, to this, Robin, could you add 1.5 cups sugar? So we'll go to our down camera.
So do we have a 1/2 cup measure, or do you want me to just wing it?
Oh, I just wing it. See, this is when we learn all these things about us.
Okay, now.
Are you a winger or are you not a winger?
I'm not.
Okay.
Well, I think that baking is chemistry. I'm a winger when I'm making stew.
Really?
Stew, but baking is chemistry. Yeah.
Huh.
That's my theory.
Well, that might explain why I got the grades I did in chemistry. All right, so we need 1.5 cups of sugar over here. Excellent. That's 1 cup. Need a half.
That one's a little shy, so this one's going to be a little heavy.
All right, while she's doing that, I'm going to drop in 3 eggs. That's 1.
Oh, nice.
2. And 3. If we were making the cinnamon sugar variety or the chocolate marble variety, we would add vanilla extract. All right. Or have you ever played around with vanilla powder? I have to say I'm rather fond of it. I travel a lot, and I travel with my own collection of spices because we stay in a lot of Airbnbs. And nice part about vanilla powder is it doesn't spill all over your suitcase. But for this gulab jamun, we're going to be using the cardamom extract. And then hopefully you can see that. The cardamom extract is something we do sell at the Lititz store. If you don't have cardamom extract, don't get off the line or run away or anything. You can definitely use just a ground cardamom. I would say use the same amount of dried cardamom as you would the cardamom extract. But boy, there is just something about this cardamom extract that I'm finding now that I have it, I'm using it in all sorts of things.
Like
so
what?
I have used it in my rice puddings.
Ooh.
I have used it like in a kheer. I've used it in mixed drinks. I've used it in cookies.
No.
So here you're going to put one. How much am I putting in? 1.5, 2 tablespoons of cardamom extract. And as you can see, I'm very exact. Yeah.
Yeah.
Extremely. All right.
Then
it's good. Then what we're going to do is we are going to mix this in the mixer. If this is too loud when I turn on the mixer, please let us know and we'll mute me for a minute. So you want to mix it until the butter is nicely creamed. And even though that butter has been sitting out all day, it is still not exactly as soft as I would like it.
That's because it's
Yeah. What is your take on when you bake? Do you leave your eggs sit out before, or do you pull them immediately from?
unless the recipe specifies room temperature. I pour it out.
Okay. I know this is a, hold on, I'm gonna make it go fast.
Well, I said it's fine.
We're still fine? Excellent. All right. Now, to me, that is creamed together enough. To you, is that creamed together enough? Do you
No,
cream more?
I'm anal.
You're cream more. Boy,
Whip that baby up.
whip the baby up. Okay, we're gonna cream more because she says so. Now, I need to tell you that Robin's husband, Marty, is also in the studio audience, and he seems to be laughing every time she, there's various reasons that they're laughing over there. It is not just because they're making comments about Robin's granddaughter who's giggling at her. All right. Oh, hey. Yes. Hello. You can smell the, hold on, take yourself off mute, love. Do you mind sharing the screen there? You need us to ask you to unmute?
Yep.
Oh, there
I'm
you
at,
are.
yeah,
Hey, how are you?
pretty good.
Where are you?
We're on our way from Hyattsville, Washington area to head back to Pennsylvania.
Awesome. And so
After
you say your rug event is a variation on the theme there?
there, indeed, it's a variation on the theme. It's
So-
the one of the annual Hyattsville Mennonite Church does the fall festival, and it's crafts and rugs for the last 35 or 40 years now.
All right. So that's great and fine. But you know what we want to really know about?
Uh-huh.
What do you think is the appropriate time to be eating a Gulab Jamun? And how do you feel that varies when you're eating a Gulab Jamun Bundt Cake?
I think Gulab Jamun cake is like good for morning or evening with the coffee. Doesn't matter when.
And how about a Gulab Jamun?
Gulab Jamun I'll try to eat in the middle of the day because it's a little more sweeter than the Bundt Cake. I like the Bundt Cake has a perfect amount of sugar. You could even control it if you want. Yeah.
If you want. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Yusuf. We'll have you just stay close and we may come back over to you.
I think what I like about this cake is that the layers and the surprises every bite you have. With the Gulab Jamun, you don't get that like a surprise bite every time. So to me, Bundt Cake is even more, like surprises you with every bite. So once you have it, you'll understand what I mean.
And I thought what you were going to say is the part you like the most is that your red-headed Pennsylvania Dutch wife figured out the recipe after watching you eat Gulab Jamun for a million years.
I think I'm very impressed by the recipe. I think it's the most amazing thing I've told everybody, even in my family in Pakistan, because to me, Gulab Jamun, like I said, it's a little syrupy sweet. It's delicious. But this, you can have less guilt and enjoy more.
I like it. I like it. All right. Well, Robin has already said she's sending 2 of her cinnamon sugar cakes back to Santa Fe. Now, when we go to Pakistan this year, we need to take 2 frozen Gulab Jamun Bundt cakes with us.
I think we must do that.
Awesome. All right. Well, stay close, sweetie, if you don't mind as you're driving. Just drive safe and be safe. And
sounds good.
The disclaimer is
Hands free.
please keep your eyes on the road and not on the bundt cake.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yep,
All right, we're gonna mute you, love.
in my ear.
Awesome answer.
Yeah.
All right, so I have the butter creamed together. I think half decent enough for the one next to me.
Perfect.
It's perfect. Excellent. So now in a separate container. So in our dry container, we are going to add 3 cups of flour. We are going to add 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda. To me, I don't know about you, this is the best part about cooking in the kitchen with someone else. You think you know a person until you cook with them. Then you really know the person. You're going to scoop it in.
Well, here's the deal.
And you're going to use a knife to level it out. I'm
Yes.
sorry, you don't see this, folks. If I could adjust the camera.
So
This
the
is-
deal is, one time I made chocolate chip cookies with the flour right out of the bag. And you hear?
Yep.
And it hadn't been fluffed or anything, and they were the flouriest cookies I've ever made. And I think it's because the flour wasn't sifted,
Okay.
and I took it right out of the bag, and it was compressed in the bag. So ever after, we lived happily because I scooped and scraped.
We'll see.
Told you I was anal.
Thank
I
God.
told you.
I love it. All right. Well, I'm not an exact measurer. So now we're putting in 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda while she's doing the flour.
Well, she's taking all week to do the flour.
And then we are doing 1/4 teaspoon of salt. All right. Oh, wow. And the miracle person behind is putting the recipe up for you. Man, that's awesome. All right, we mix it up. And because I usually, if Yusuf's not home, hurry home, honey. If Yusuf's not home, that means I have to do the dishes. So I try to make as few dishes as humanly possible. So I use my measuring spoon to actually do the stirring. So here's our flour mixture. You also want to get into a container. What I say, 1.5? Yeah, 1.5 cup sour cream. Now, there are 2 things in this life that I hate to measure: sour cream and shortening.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so tired. I mean, I went through so many. Yes, it is. So the joys of the
Not
scale.
measure. Oh.
Well, no, I did the no measuring, and then I had guilt. So I went to the scale. So 1.5 cups of full fat sour cream is roughly around 350 grams of sour cream. You know, Vanessa, that Brazilian we work with, she measures everything and it seems to work. So 350 grams of sour cream. We're going to the mixing bowl. We're going to add half of our flour mixture. And this is where I get a little.
Half that's on the counter.
Everybody look away. Yeah,
I saw nothing.
All right, so now that extra little bit, okay. And we're gonna mix that together. This is where I sort of like mix in that, see what it looks like.
Do a little dance.
Do a little dance. This is supposed to be a PG.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Get down to enough.
Uh-huh. I drop in the sour cream. Sorry, I'm supposed to do this away from the camera. Thank you, ma'am. And then I throw in the rest of the flour mixture. How much did I get on the counter this time? Hey, yay. All right, now I have a mixer that's from 1991 where they didn't make that nice little guard. So when I turn this on.
Oh, is that what that's for?
Yeah, well, that's what I use my hands for. So that nothing comes up to the camera. All right, so we're gonna mix this until nicely mixed. Not mixed like there's no tomorrow, just sort of until blended. Is everyone having fun? Is everyone hungry?
Yes. And
Excellent. Katrina, I see you coming online. Rosabelle, it's great to have you. Mike, good to have you. And Adita, thanks for the last minute sign up. It's good to have you here. All right, that is our dough. Now, this is where we start getting fun. See, and this is always the hard part. Because you're all watching, I'm gonna, no, you know what? I am myself on here. I use my finger. My finger is by far the best spatula out there. And because I'm raised Pennsylvania Dutch, we don't want to lose any last bit of that batter.
You're gonna offer that to somebody to lick?
No, I was raised by a nurse.
No.
And because it has raw egg in it, somehow I can't do raw egg in anything else but chocolate chip cookie dough. Then
That's
I
my
just
son.
figure the chocolate chips weigh out any problem that the eggs could have. Yeah.
Neutralize the bacteria. Got it.
All right. So folks, we have our batter. We're done with the mixer, because our next bit of mixing is going to be human mixing. So your base cake batter, which is a cardamom based batter. You need 2 extra mixing bowls. Yes, Yusuf, this is where all the dishes come from. Yusuf says that I tend to use every dish in the kitchen. You might be right. We're going to put roughly a third in here and a third in here.
Okay. A third and a third.
A third and a third, a rough third.
Okay.
Let's see what
I'm
she
not
does
allowed to
with a
measure.
rough third. Nope, you just have to guess. And it really doesn't matter. I mean,
To
because
you.
well, okay, that's true. What we're doing is now, because it is a marble cake, and a marble cake, can you pin the mixer? Yes. Do you mind going down on the down cam, Lara? Beautiful. All right, so we are making 3 bowls. We're going to go a little bit closer in here. 3 bowls of dough. All right, that's perfect. And it doesn't have to be exact, because what we're trying to do is we're marrying 3 different flavors together, but we're marrying it in like sort of a marbling effect. All right. Is that exactly in half or in thirds?
Absolutely. I want you to get your measuring thing out here.
Excellent.
And go, no, it's not.
That's perfect. Okay, so as I was saying earlier, gulab jamuns are a mix between that cardamom, that rose petal, and the saffron. Okay, so
Almost.
2 are 3 almost perfectly divided.
Done.
Done? Excellent. We did it. Everybody, round of applause. Yeah, thank you, studio audience. All right, so to mixing bowl number 1, okay, we are going to add a teaspoon of cardamom extract. Shh, don't tell her.
I saw.
That's a teaspoon. All right, and 1.5 teaspoons of our cardamom seed. Now, again, if you don't have cardamom seed, don't worry, you have 2 options. You can either just use, like if you have cardamom pods, open them up and use the cardamom seeds. Burlap and Barrel, which is the spice company that we deal with, it's a fair trade spice company. They actually sell the seeds, which makes life very easy for those of us that don't want to open a ton of pods. But you can use just the dried cardamom. The cardamom seeds adds that nice little extra bit of crunch, which is why we like it. So I'm going to add in 1.5 teaspoons of cardamom seed.
Don't you count them?
Yeah, that's 542 right there. Yes. All right, so that's mixing bowl number 1. Mixing bowl number 2. I'm going to take my bloom saffron. I'm going to pour it in. All right. Just leave that sit there. Thank you, ma'am. And in mixing bowl number 3, we are going to take the dried rose petals. Again, burlap and barrel spice that we really love. And we are going to take a rounded teaspoon of our rose petals. Now, I realize rose petals are not exactly the easiest thing to find. If you could not find them in your neck of the woods and you're trying to make this, if you have rose water, that's great. If you don't have anything, the cake will still taste great. But I have to say, as someone who was not raised with cooking with rose petals, it adds a whole different dimension to this cake. So I highly recommend either grabbing some from us or grabbing like a rose water at your local grocery store. It really adds a nice dimension to this. Now, I now have 3 different bowls. I'm going to need helpers for these 3 different bowls. Can I have some volunteers from my studio audience?
Yeah.
I would like to introduce to you Addie and Maddie. This is Robin's son and granddaughter, and they are visiting us here from Santa Fe, New Mexico. And I am told that you are like exceptional mixers.
The best.
The best. All right. So let's see what the 3 of you can do in terms of mixing. Now, I don't know about you. When you mix, Addie, do you like sing anything? Or do you just go boom, 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 boom?
No.
No? Okay, well, how about if we do it here? Try smushing it around.
The big ball.
It is a big bowl because you know what?
Would you rather do the short ball?
We want to make a big cake. Okay. All right. What do you smell? What do you smell, Addie?
Nothing.
Nothing? All right. I think it's because of the hair isn't because in front of your nose, maybe. All right. Excellent. All right. So no, luckily not. All right. So, Kib, I don't know if you can see, and we're going to try to adjust the camera so you can see. All right. So each one of them is mixing up their additive into the dough. And it doesn't take much. Oh, you're done, Miss Robin. Let's see you, Miss Addie. Oh, you're good. Excellent. And let's see. Oh, exceptional. All right. Let's show you what these look like. Again, it's just a nicely mixed up. Mix the liquid in. The saffron's the hardest one. You know you had the hardest one? Yeah, I don't think Grandma knew you had the hardest one. You have the hardest one because you have that extra water that you're trying to add in as well. All right. And our rose. All right. Now, I'm going to move these to the side. And we are going to adjust this in a, Laura, I'm not certain the best way, because here's the next thing, folks. The fear of the bundt pan. The fear of the bundt pan.
It strikes deep in my heart.
It does, doesn't it? And because truly, if tiny ones, big ones, they all have what? Could you hand me a bundt pan? Yeah, you hand the tiny one. Okay. How many of you are cooking with a bundt pan? How many of you feel easy to cook with a bundt pan? Yeah, I never did. Because quite honestly, what would happen is I would flip the cake, and in the end, half of my cake would be caught in the pan. That's not very cool, is it? No. So my friend in Montreal, dear Terry, basically said, butter, flour, butter, flour. Repeat after me. Ready? Butter, flour, butter, flour. Faster. Butter, flour, butter, flour, butter, flour, butter, flour. Okay, so keep that in mind, everybody. We got a butter, we got a flour. Now, from someone who's made 50 of these, we're going to have her lead the lesson. Now, you laugh, but I have to say, as I've been making an obscene amount of these cakes over the last 3 weeks, I realized that there is a proper way to butter and there is an improper way to butter. Yes, it is true, Adita. There is a proper and an improper way of buttering. So, show me. Whoa. All right. So you want to show the 2 different types of pans we have back there, and why we like the one and why we don't like the other one. This one? Yeah, that one. And then also this one. Grab, yeah, one of those. All right, Robin, over to you.
Okay, well, we're not a fan of this one because when you put butter in it, you can't really see that you've got butter in it, because it's kind of the same color. But this side, when you put butter in it, different color. So you know what area you've missed. And I have already said I'm anal, but this part is really important. It's important that you get butter everywhere because that's what's going to release the cake or allow the cake to release. So we choose this one.
Now you seem to be holding, Addie, this little one. Tell me why you like this one.
Cute.
It is really cute, isn't it? Okay, and watch this. The cool part about this pan, did you see this part? Right, it comes out. So with this one, as you're flipping it over, you can pull it like this and then pull this guy out. So we like this one or we like that one. This one, only when we're really desperate. Got it? All right, so now let's give a buttering lesson. Let's butter up that pan. Show us, and you're gonna butter up your pan.
Want one? This is what you're
Can
gonna use.
everyone see? Do I need to adjust cameras so that you can see? I do. Hold on a sec, everybody. We are a non-official camera running. There we are. Okay, so now you can see the low, the high, the everything. All right. Okay, are you ready?
Ready?
We're gonna butter.
You want to get a piece of this? Okay, that piece. Okay, good. You're gonna get some butter on this. Some people that I know use their fingers, but I don't.
Who uses their fingers?
My girlfriend, I do boiling things. My
Oh.
girlfriend Sally, who was a professional chef at the White Dog and at Alice Waters
Yeah,
restaurant.
uses her fingers. All right.
So you kind of have an advantage because what you can do, take this out, you can actually separate yours. Take it apart, butter that part first, and then you butter that part and drop it in there. I have to butter this.
An important lesson that you just saw there is somebody else's buttering sheet is always better than your own. So grab somebody else's buttering sheet and use theirs.
Well, I'm breaking it in for her.
Are you?
Yeah.
Excellent. I like this.
Softening the butter,
Yeah.
soften the buttering sheet.
Mhm.
And if we don't have a fun pan, what do we?
So, oh, Rosabelle, great question. I didn't, like I told you, I had a great fear of bundt pans for forever. I would make this recipe just in a regular, rectangular sheet, like a 9x13 pan. It cooks up very nicely. The part about a bundt pan, which honestly, so many people have fears of bundt pans. So after you're done with this, head out to a reuse it shop. You'll probably find one for $2.50. What I like about it is it allows you to like make a really nice cut of the cake and a really thin cut of the cake. So you can easily cook it in a 9x13. It might cook up a little bit less than 55 minutes. Just keep an eye on it as you're cooking. All right, looks like you've managed the butter part. But what was the second part that we were saying? Butter and?
Flour.
Butter and flour. Okay, so what are we missing?
Not butter.
Not butter.
No.
We need
Flour.
flour. Thank you. I don't know who said that. Thank you. We need flour. So show us. Now,
Me.
everybody. Oh, thanks, Adia. I appreciate it. Now, to be clear, I want you to know that they are currently on top of a Bunyaad runner that we have in our kitchen, that everything under the sun has already been dropped on it. So go ahead, kiddo. Flour your pan. Don't worry where the flour goes. Yusuf's coming home tonight.
Do you want this one or do you want to do the bigger one? It might be easier. That one? Okay. There we go. So you, because your pan comes apart, when you do what grandmom's going to do, you need to hold it together so it doesn't fall apart. Okay. So then grandmom's going to put some here. You get some too.
And then you and I
Honey,
just stand behind. Here, you hold that one.
you want salt too? Oh, yeah, you do, because I'll show you why. I have a lot because I have a bigger pan. But, oh, this is big. In there, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
ton, but Jenny doesn't do anything.
No.
in a
We
small
use a
way.
lot of flour around here.
Never,
All
ever in a
right.
small way.
Are we ready? We don't have flour, but what we can still do is shake.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you are shaking it around so that you get your flour.
Oh, man.
You get your flour both around the outside as well as at the inside. Okay. You want to go like this.
Good, honey.
Okay. And then in time, quite honestly, it's stuck a little bit. Yeah. I then go like this over the sink or over someone that I think it would be fun. All right. And the point for that is you don't want to leave excess flour down in there. If it's not sticking to the butter, you want it gone. Okay. So again, She's very intent on buttering her pan. She hasn't noticed. But again, you want to break out anything that is not
To get the
stuck on.
sauce too.
You want to break it apart. Okay?
Okay, so
You do it
do
really
like
nice.
this.
You should try that in like on the stage sometimes. You do it with maracas too,
Yeah.
or just bundt pans?
Professional backup singer.
No, he's not. He only knows how to cook 2 things.
Oh, well, see, now he's soon gonna know how to cook 3.
Well, he
Isn't that-
wasn't listening.
Oh, well, you just wait. Okay, so here's the cool part. All right, so we're gonna wait till grandma brings over. And then the part about marbling, first of all, we need the tool. All right, do we have down cam? Which cam? Okay. So we now have our beautifully floured pans, okay? And in order to marble it, and I'm gonna do the little one first, and then we'll do the big one. Watch this. We're going, actually, I'll do the big one and then the little. Let's do that. I think it's such tiny. We're gonna take 2 spoonfuls of dough.
That's a spatula full.
Spatula full, spoonful, okay? And we're gonna do it like 6 and 9, or not 6 and 9, 3 and 9. Okay? Which means on the opposite side of this thing called a clock face. Do you tell time? Okay. Do you tell time on a clock or on like a clock face or on an iPhone? Okay, excellent. Way to go. Okay, so we're gonna do it at like 3 o'clock, which would be on the other side. 3 o'clock. Okay. And at 9 o'clock. Okay. Now we're gonna do 2 layers of dough. Okay, so now that was my saffron. I'm now gonna take my cardamom. And again, no need to wash your hands in between because you're really marrying everything together at this point.
And you're
So-
not licking them anyway.
No, again, I know, see, raised by a nurse, we don't lick raw dough. All right, so again, that's at 8 and at 2. Drop, okay. And then we bring in our rose petal dough. And that would put us at what, maybe like 5 and an 11. Okay, let's get yours as well. Can everyone see what I'm doing? We're trying to do 12 things at once, so I'm hoping you're still able to see. Yeah, I agree to, oops, sorry, that was supposed to go directly on the rug, not on you. Yeah, I tend to throw stuff. Teresa, I totally agree. Bundt pans do make them look really festive. It can be the same cake, but it looks so much better in a bundt. All right,
Yum.
so take this, take yours, ready? And now what we're gonna do is just tap. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, see what it did? It flattened the dough really nicely, didn't it? All right, so now we're gonna do level 2, okay? Level 2 is I'm gonna take the rose dough. I do believe our camera person is having way too much fun. I love it. I'm gonna take the rose and I'm gonna put it on top of my saffron layer.
Ooh, she's
Okay.
bold.
I'm bold. So I'm gonna put the rose on top of the saffron. And I have to say, folks, these cute little mini bundt pans are a lot of fun. Because when my kiddo was young, we'd hand him dough and say, how do you want to make your cake? And then he would decide, and sometimes he'd add like chocolate chips to it, or he'd add, lots of things.
We don't like chocolate chips.
We don't like chocolate chips.
She's lying.
I was gonna say chocolate chips. They're
I like chocolate chip cookies. I like it.
oh, chocolate chip cookies are the best, aren't they, Adita?
The best. They are. I tell you, they are they are phenomenal.
So my question is, do
It's
you
the
eat
best
the dough?
cookies. Huh?
Do you eat the dough or do you eat just the cookie?
Dough and cookies both.
Dough and cookie. I love it. All right. Now I'm just continuing on here, folks, with layering little bits. Now I have the saffron dough going on top of the cardamom. Okay. And finally, I'm going to grab the rest of the cardamom dough. What'd you say, Yusuf? Tell Robin not to worry about the dishes. You'll take care of it when you come home. Ah, that's what you
That's
said.
not what you said, you
Oh,
said.
sweetheart, that was so sweet of you. All right, so now we're taking the cardamom dough, putting it on top of, I think it's a rose. Okay, so I'm filling in. Girlfriend, I don't think you have much space left in this, so we're gonna put just a little bit there.
Tap it a little bit. so
Yeah,
we
let's
get it to
tap
come down.
yours.
Here you go.
All right,
Tap, 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 tap.
then
Does it matter which combinations you make there?
it really doesn't. It's more that if you put the different, for lack of better, very appropriate terminology, if you put the different globs in different places, it will allow you to do the marbling so much easier, as opposed to if you would just put 3 globs and then try to mix it. All right, now the knife, the marble technique. All right, this is where I still hear my mother talk to me. When you marble, you want to dance it swirly, curly through the bundt pan, but you don't want to mix, because the whole point of making a marble cake is that you still want to have distinct flavors. You just want them to, get together and dance a little bit. You want to make yours dance? Here, I'll take this off. Would you like to do swirly curly through yours?
You do it.
How about
Grandma's
if I-
gonna do it?
I'll show you, and then you want to do it after that?
No.
Okay.
Wait.
Oh. Ooh, the lolly. Nice, nice swirly, nice curly. Now, I realize in all of this swirly curly stuff here and dough eating here in our house, we have not checked in with your house. Now, I believe I don't have a ton of you cooking with me. I believe all of you are going to cook afterwards, or maybe you're just hoping to get on Robin's list of people who are getting one of her bundt cakes. But yeah, she says no problem. She can make another 50 more before the 15th. Leonore, are you cooking, and do you have a bundt pan that you'd like to show us? Hold on, you're muted. Yeah, take your time. Oh, yeah, see, I always call on people when their hands are a mess. That's okay. You take your time. I'm going to try to grab a towel to get the stuff off of my hands. All right. Don't worry, Leonore. We'll come back. All right. Gorgeously. See, look at this. I've already moved over. All right. So you know what time it is now? While Leonore is showing her, we need to put this in the oven. So you are ready. Do one more tap. Put it in the oven for at 350 for about 50 to 55 minutes. If you're making a tiny little one like you, we need to check in about 25 minutes. Okay. So do you mind putting that in the oven? And do you want to go over with Grandma and put that in the oven as well? And then you and Dad are going to do something new. Hop on up here. So, hey, let's go over to Leonore.
Well, I haven't swirled mine yet, but this one is to take, we're going to there's no word in English for in-laws. So we're going to Rebecca's in-laws for Thanksgiving, and I'm going to take the cake, but I had to taste it. So I put a little bit in,
Awesome.
I don't have a little mini bundt thing. So, and I don't have a real bundt pan, but I have this other thing that I think is bigger and flatter. So I'm going to swirl it now.
That is perfect. It's funny you say that, Leonore, because Robin, when I first met Robin, she told me about these cakes, and she says, but I cook them not in a bundt pan. I have my own special pan, and there's only so many of them in this world. And my son, my amazing son, he found me a second one, because otherwise she was making all of them in just one pan. But anyway, then he found a second one, so now she's making them in 2. And then let's show them. We found this one. So it's a stubbier, sort of more like a 7 cup, 8 cup dough pan. And it makes a really dear, squatter, but delicious cake. So you're not
Yes.
alone. You'll make a great cake.
We'll see.
All
It's
right.
gonna, it's gonna go to New Jersey on Tuesday.
Oh, fantastic. And you know, one of the things that I found is once it's cooled, just wrap it up really well in plastic wrap, or you use aluminum
I
foil.
use foil.
Okay. And then pop it in your freezer right away. We
Okay.
actually just shipped one. No, we're not going into another business. A friend of ours heard about that we make this Gulab Jamun cake. So we just shipped one out to Pasadena, California. It should arrive on Tuesday in Pasadena, and we sent it out frozen. But then we just sent with extra ice. Teresa, I believe somebody else is helping you cook there. Who is helping you cook, Teresa? Oh my goodness, Laura, there is someone there. Teresa, who is cooking with you? You are muted. Hold on. You are still muted. Hold on a minute. There, I'm going to ask you to unmute if you just respond to
Oh,
that. There you
here.
go.
Hi, look further back. There you go.
Who
There's
are
my son, my daughter-in-law, my grandkids, and we're showing you the new puppies. But I'm loud, so muted is a good choice.
Well, I have to say it's really nice as we're cooking with multiple generations here, all human. We're glad that you are cooking with multiple generations, human and non-human. So it's great. Thank you for showing your dear ones there. Now, because of the magic of TV, we're going to show them one last little step. Are you ready for this? All right. So before you all joined us, and so that we all had something immediately to eat, we made, if I could have the down camera, we made a bundt cake before we joined you. All right. So this is what the Gulab Jamun cake looks like when it is done. What I am going to do, are you ready for this? I need someone to say abracadabra.
Abracadabra.
Like really loud. Ready? Like,
Abracadabra.
okay, a little bit more. Ready?
Abracadabra.
Okay. We flip it over.
Go.
And because, wow, you see how nicely that came out? And you see how nothing is left? Okay, tiny little bit, but I count that as a win. All right, now you could eat the cake just like this. Like you could actually just, grab a fork and start going at it.
Sounds like a plan.
I know, which we might do. However, the part of a Gulab Jamun is that normally it would be deep fried. What isn't good deep fried, right?
Better.
Right. And then soaked in a sugar syrup. One of the things that we've tried to replicate is putting a glaze over this, cardamom glaze, so that it gets that crispiness. But in order to do the cardamom glaze, you do want your cake to be fairly cool so that the glaze affixes and not just soaks in. Although I think, as Yusuf will tell you, it soaking in isn't a problem either. But if you want something that looks glistening, wait until it cools a little bit, and then it will stick on. Now, you know how easy it is to make a glaze? You do? Excellent. I thought you did. All right. So this is what we're going to do. I need you, Patty, to mix. Yeah, she must have learned it from you.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Oh,
All right.
it's one of the two things.
One of the two, yeah. The two basic food groups,
Yep.
chocolate and glazes. All right.
No,
So,
it's not.
no, you didn't think it is? Chocolate and glazes should be two of the food groups.
I think you need to focus more on what you're doing.
All right, so what we're gonna do, again, using our cardamom extract, we're gonna add a teaspoon, aptly measured.
Oh,
I know, it kills Jay.
no.
You should see when I cook with Vanessa, it kills her too. All right,
Yeah.
a little bit of cardamom extract and then just a little bit of water. Okay, now mix that up until you have a nice glazy goodness. All right,
What does that look like?
glazy goodness. Oh, it's the look in Yusuf's eyes when I actually clean up the dining room table.
Oh.
Yes, it's glazy goodness.
Aha.
All right, now, as you see what I'm doing, everybody, I am creating a drip area. Actually, now that this is cool, Maddie, do you mind pulling that? No, the cooling rack, just totally moving it out of the way, because there's a reason. All right, I do like to cool things in a cooling rack. I think it cools more consistently. But when I glaze, especially here in Pennsylvania Dutch land, we don't waste much, all right? And so therefore, when we mix this up, how's it mixed? Is it nicely? Ooh, you know what? We need just a little bit more water because it's a little thick, isn't it? Maybe just a tad, a tad. That's a tad. When, yeah, well, like a tadpole, but without any amphibious mix into it. All right, or a part of our studio audience will be leaving us right now. Okay, so to glaze it. The nice part about a bundt cake and the nice part about glazing a bundt cake is that you do have all these ridges, okay? Which is where it so nicely just runs down and creates something quite pretty. So I'm going to show you and then I'm going to have you do it. You want to go back and forth, back and forth. You will begin to make a mess on the side and a mess in the middle. But the nice part is we can pull that mess and re-drizzle it.
Or eat it.
Or eat it. You ready to drizzle? All right, here you go. And what's fun, everybody, is drizzle doesn't have to be perfect. Drizzle can be whatever drizzle is. And what's nice is it does soak in, just like a gulab jamun, it soaks into sort of that outer layer. And you can go over it and over it and over it until just the right amount of glaze is on there. Some families like it more sugary, others like it less sugary. How about you? Are you a more sugary or less sugary?
Sugary.
Sugary. I sort of thought you might be. Now, as you probably saw on our, if you're sugary, oh, come on. No.
My mom
Watch.
doesn't like chocolate.
Your mom doesn't like chocolate. Well, we still love her, you know, but then we just won't make. Thank you for that segue. Did you know I needed a segue to the next thing I wanted to say? You didn't. Oh, say yes.
Yes.
Okay, so as you saw in the recipe sheet, there are two other, am I making a mess? There are two other variations. One, which Addie's mom does not want, is the chocolate marble cake, where instead of the cardamom, we would add the vanilla extract or the vanilla extract powder. And about half of the batter then turns chocolate with a half cup of chocolate cocoa powder, and the other half is vanilla, and we marble it. And then Miss Robin's style, in case you're not on her list of 50, would be sugar and cinnamon mixed together. And do you just put it in the center or do you marble it?
I don't marble it. I put it in the center and then I put it on the top.
Put it on the top.
Because remember, my cake is coming out.
Oh, right. You put it on the top
Right,
that way.
And also I put nuts in, except for people that.
Yeah.
Right,
don't
like
like
us weirdos like
Some
me.
people don't like nuts.
Yeah, well,
Oh, some nuts.
you like some nuts? Well, you like your grandma. All right, so let me just show you. So this one is coming together. This is a cinnamon sugar one that we made earlier. We really did have to cut this much, right? Otherwise it
Yeah.
couldn't have seen the swirls.
That's the only way you get access.
Right,
visually.
right. So thanks to the four of us here, you are able to see the swirls because we took it upon ourselves.
It was a sacrifice.
Right, it was. Now, one more down camera. As you can start to see the glaze glazing over, okay? And you see how it's starting to crust. If it is something you're going to freeze, wait until it dries completely. What I have done, now I have to say Addie made a perfect glaze and did make it too runny. Sometimes if I make it too runny, I will then lift this up, put it onto another parchment sheet, and then hold this parchment sheet and drizzle it again. So it's like a double the amount of yumminess. But we might just have been perfect this time. Yeah, excellent. So I think we're actually to the end. Can you believe that?
Oh.
Well,
Yeah.
I know. Well, folks, I hope you had fun. We certainly did. We would love if you would post photos of your bundt cake, hashtag Bunyaad Marketplace, hashtag Cooking with Bunyaad, hashtag Sugar Rules. What do you think? Sugar Rules? Yeah, that's a good one. No, but in all seriousness, thank you so much for joining us. We really missed doing these over these last couple of months. Our goal is to start doing it, I'd like to say on a monthly basis, although when I said that, and then Yusuf said, yeah, but aren't we leaving for Pakistan on this date? So stay tuned. Our goal is to do this more monthly. If you like the spices that we're cooking with, I will tell you, we cook with burlap and barrel, not only because they are fairly traded and help small scale farmers. They are just the best spices I have ever run into. They are online. You can get them from bunyaad.com. I think our amazing wizard behind the screen here is giving you those links. We look forward to seeing you next month. So if you had fun, tell your friends, tell them to join us. So until next time, Khudafis. Can you repeat after me? Khudafis. Goodbye. Later.
Video.
See you next time. Bye.
You were yawning, yes, you were.